Welcome back, everybody. This channel is Bike Like a Dog. Hope you're here on purpose, and if not, hang around. We'd love to have you. Today I'm talking about training. What kind of training do we need for a motorcycle? I mean, we got a car license. You know, you got your learner's permit, and you went. Maybe your parents taught you, maybe some uncle, because your mom and dad just couldn't handle it. Maybe you took a driver's ed course. I know in the state of Georgia there is some kind of like a written course that you have to do. But the point is that you probably took some sort of training, and that was probably it. You've probably never had any other training since that time. Isn't it funny, something that we spend so much time doing, and yet we don't really train that much for it? It's almost like a, hey, go out and learn by doing. Holy moly, that guy's in my lane. But he's passing the guy on foot. I get it. But for motorcycles, they require a different level of skill than a car. They require a different level of awareness than a car. And I'm sure that everyone probably agree with that. If you ride a bike anyway. So I will say this first. If you're planning to get your motorcycle license, I highly recommend the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course. You'll hear it referred to as the MSF. In the state of Georgia, there are two ways to get your motorcycle endorsement on your license. The first is you can go and get a learner's permit, which allows you to ride a motorcycle by yourself, can't two up with anybody, on any non-limited access highways, so you can't get on the interstates, during daylight hours. No night riding. Those are the only limitations on you. By yourself, no limited access highways, daylight hours. I've heard that 35% of people that are involved in fatal accidents, I believe that's the correct statistic, don't have a motorcycle license. 34%, 35%, something like that. 1/3 of people don't have a license. Why is that important? Well, because in order to get your license that way in the state of Georgia, you have to take a driving test of some sort. In fact, I would say most states, you have to have some sort of driving test, just like you do with a car. You have to demonstrate some level of proficiency with the vehicle. And if you don't have a license, then you've never even proven that basic level of proficiency. You've never had to gain that level of proficiency, which means you're more likely to be in an accident because you've never had probably any training. You've never actually practiced anything. You just got out there on your bike and started riding, and trial and error. Well, look, I can keep it up, just like my bicycle. Let me tell you something, folks. A motorcycle is not your bicycle, and it is not just your bike going really, really fast. It's a whole different beast. So that's what you have to do. You get your, you get your training, or you get your learners. You go out and do some stuff, and then you go take your test and your driver's test and the written exam and all that kind of stuff. On the other hand, if you take the MSF course, the beginner's course, they teach you how to ride a motorcycle. And I mean, they teach you how to ride a motorcycle from, there will be people in the class that have never swung a leg over a bike before they get into the class. And they teach you about the friction zone. They teach you how to shift gears. They teach you where all the controls are. You may be completely ignorant about motorcycles, and they will teach you. Not only that, but after your 2-day class, or however long it is where you are, at least in the state of Georgia, you can take the certificate you have from that class, you turn it in, and you don't have to take the written or driver test at the DMV, or DDS it's called in Georgia, because you've already done all of the requirements as part of your class. To me, that was huge. Being able to just do it there in the parking lot, in my class, skills that I had been training for several days, that was awesome. I'm just letting some of this traffic get around me. So that's the other way to get your license. And it's a great one because you learn how to do things like I just did. You learn how to make U-turns at slow speed and things like that. You learn how to maneuver your bike. And it's a very low-cost way to do it. Maybe you don't know if you really want to ride a motorcycle. Well, if you go to the MSF class, they provide you with a motorcycle, and if you needed a helmet, all you have to do is show up with your long pants, long sleeve shirt. Doesn't have to be motorcycle pants or in the motorcycle jacket or anything like that. Just a long sleeve shirt, long pants, shoes that cover your ankles, not high top tennis shoes. I mean actual leather shoes. Work boots will work, although I will caution you, if it's got something like steel toes, you might have a little bit of trouble shifting the gears because of the way that you have to put your foot under the gear shift to pull it up. But I mean, it'll work. People do it. Just might be a little more challenging for you. And you got to have some kind of gloves. What kind of gloves? Any kind of gloves. It doesn't matter. You want to wear ski gloves? You probably can. You want to wear workshop gloves? Probably work. There is no stipulation. They don't have to be motorcycle gloves. I would recommend that you do something that's a pretty tough leather or cloth or something. The reason they have it's in case you fall over and you don't scrape up your hands too much. So it's in your own best interest. They're kind of trying to watch out for you. And that's really what all of this is. It protects you from drops and things like that. The high top boots keep the motorcycle from landing on your ankle. Well, it actually doesn't keep it from landing on your ankle. It just protects your ankle from it. But it's a very low-cost way to do it. I understand that in some states it may even be free. It's not free in Georgia. But there are a number of places that you can do it. I'll put the link in the description. It's like mfsusa.org or something like that. I'll put the description in there. Pretty much every Harley-Davidson shop does that. which means that the bikes you'd be using, or at least in my class, they had the X350RA, which is their Riding Academy bike, and it's gradually replacing the Street 500s that they had used before. They've got, the crash bars all over those things. Those bikes get dropped a lot, believe me. So, you don't have to worry about, well, yeah, man, I don't want to drop their bike. Believe me, they have bikes that are set up so that it does, yeah, you can drop it. I mean, they don't want you to purposely drop it, but it's not going to hurt the bike. If you go to a place like, there's one on the north side of Atlanta, up in Alpharetta, right next to Honda, and they have Honda bikes, so you could be on like a Rebel 500 or Rebel 300, something like that. They will typically try to match the size of the bike to the size of the rider. So if you're smaller, you'll get like the Rebel 300. If you're taller, you'll get the 500. Now, hopefully that makes sense to everyone. But the MSF doesn't just have the basic rider course. They also have an introductory course, by the way. It's like $75, I think it was here, where they do basically the first chapter of the basic course, which is where you have a little bit of classroom time. They do an outside session where you learn about the friction zone. They show you the controls, start up the bike, and you do straight line stuff. You start learning how to weave in and out of cones and stop. That's it. That's it. But it's about, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours long, something like that. I mean, it's a pretty short course. The main thing is so that you can come in before committing the $300 or whatever dollars to do the basic rider course. For $75, you can just dip your toe in the water, and that's it. But the MSF also has other courses. They have an advanced course that goes beyond the basic course. They have a dirt bike course. They have an ADV course, or an adventure course. These are all courses by the MSF. Again, check out the link. Take a look. It's they've got a good bit to offer. Now, a lot of these things are in a parking lot. The basic course and the advanced course are both slow maneuver parking lot drills. You can also find stuff like that on MC Rider or Dan the Fireman, Ride Like a Pro. There are a number of different places that you can buy handbooks with drills and stuff like that that you can set up on your own. So maybe you live in a place where there is not an MSF course anywhere near you. It can happen. You can download these drills and learn from these guys. They've got YouTube videos telling you, hey, here's how you can do the U-turns. Here's how to do, and they'll walk you through virtually every exercise that you need. You'll be ready for your motorcycle driver's test if you go do that. You just have to take a little more hand in your own training instead of just getting on the road and riding down a highway like this, because I'm going to tell you right now, riding down a highway like this does not take a great amount of skill. All right? Once you get rolling, the wheels on your bike are acting like gyros, and the bike will stay up. I learned that as a kid riding my bicycle with no hands. I can go flying down a hill with no hands because, man, that thing was just rock solid as I was flying down that hill. And it's the same thing with a motorcycle. It wants to stay up. Riding a road like this does not take a lot of skill. However, it does take training to know where to ride. Should I ride over here in this left lane? Or should I ride in the right lane? Maybe I should be up the middle. These are things that the training will teach you. And these are things that a lot of YouTube videos will teach you. But you'll learn things like right now where you see that I am not pulling right behind this guy. I'm pulling where I can see around him. I'm pulling where if the guy behind me was coming too fast, I can get around him. I can go. I can get out of the way. There are training things that you need to learn that are not just how to mechanically operate your motorcycle. It's how to ride, the mental aspects of it, the awareness, the safety issues. I don't know why this guy didn't go, but there again, you can't control other riders, other cars. Now, all that's to say, there's a lot of these things that you do in parking lots and everything, and they're great. And especially if you're going to start, if you're riding on a big bike, if you're riding on some 900-pound Harley or something, man, you really want to take some of these training things because they will help you learn how to maneuver your bike. Because again, if you're going straight down the highway, it's not a big issue, but you get those big bikes in a parking lot, and that's where you're most likely to drop them. And dropping a big bagger like that is, it can be expensive because those things have some pretty expensive fairings and bags and stuff like that on them. So learn how to handle your bike at a low speed. The most likely place that you're going to just plain drop the thing, trying to do U-turns and stuff. Now, what about beyond that? Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to put links for these things as well. There is something called the Yamaha Champions Riding School. There are YouTube videos out there. There's actually a channel that they have that has a bunch of videos. So good training out there. Again, good training available without having to enroll. Just go to a YouTube video and look. But they also have online courses that you can buy called Champ U. That's just an online course. They have what's called Champ Street, which is where you show up with your bike, your gear, and everything, and they teach you on a motor speedway like the Carolina Motorsports Park or the Atlanta Motorsports Park, Road Atlanta, Barber, different motor speedways across the nation. They will get together and they have these classes where you go out on the speedway, you're at highway speeds, you're learning how to do stuff at 60, 70 miles an hour. They're teaching you how to ride your bike in real world scenarios, how to brake, how to handle your bike at speed. Because handling your bike at speed is very different from handling your bike in a parking lot. There's another one called the BMW, I think it's called the BMW Motorrad or something like that. There's one in Greer, South Carolina. It's a BMW Performance Center. And you go there and you ride their bikes. BMWs. Yeah, you go out on their track and ride a BMW. And they have a street version. They also have an ADV version where you're going through like knee-deep water and stuff like that. So you can get real ADV training from BMW. Oh, I forgot to mention the Yamaha Champion Riding School. Let's go back to that one for a second, because beyond the Champ Street School, they have the Champ School. Yamaha Champ School. That's a 2-day course. And for that one, you got to be in full leathers. They're not teaching necessarily racing techniques, but if you're wanting to learn how to corner and drag your knee and stuff, that's the place to do it. I'm just saying. But you got to wear full leathers. They have bikes for rent. Anything from an MT-03 up to MT-09, R7s, R6s. They got all kinds of stuff for rent. You can also rent the leathers, Dainese leathers, and everything. Of course, if you have your own, you can bring it. And for those that have graduated, they have a grad school, the Yamaha Champ Grad School. And if you're a grad, you get to rent an R1. You can only rent an R1 if you've graduated from the Champ School. I think they have another one as well, but it doesn't come to mind right off the bat. There are schools that teach police officers. There are schools that teach, there are other ADV schools. There are probably some that are local as well. That may be local. For example, if you're doing a track day at Road Atlanta or something like that, there's probably somebody that does track days at Road Atlanta that's separate from these organizations. They don't necessarily do track days at every track, but they do, they do some. As you get out into the more rural areas, you may be able to find more ADV courses and stuff like that, dirt bike courses, motocross courses, things like that. All I'm saying is that you can find as much training as you want. And I've heard people that have said, I've gone back to this school. I took the course, and I take the course about every year or two. I go back and I take it again because I'm always learning something new. And they're always making changes to the course, because as they continue to train, at the same time, the motorcycle manufacturers are making changes to their bikes, right? So nowadays you have radar-assisted ABS and things like that they may have to help you learn the new techniques as a result. I don't know that. I have no idea. That's just an example of one of the more recent innovations in motorcycles. That guy just blew right through that intersection. All right. So, get the training. This goes back to the video I did recently on you will be in an accident. Yes, you will be in an accident. Training can help you avoid an accident or minimize an accident so that what could have been a really bad accident becomes a minor accident. And what would have been a minor accident becomes a swerve. Get the training. Help yourself. Because motorcycles can only improve so much. The most important thing that we can improve is ourselves and our skills. So, that means everybody get the training so that you can bike like a dog. Have a great week, everybody.